I remember the exact second my life split into two parts, before and after. It wasn't dramatic. No thunder, no music swelling in the background. Just a quiet Wednesday morning, 6:58 a.m., and me standing barefoot in my tiny kitchen, staring at a crumpled receipt in my hand. The coffee machine was humming behind me, filling the room with that cheap, bitter smell I'd grown used to over the years. My apartment was small, one bedroom, peeling paint near the ceiling, a window that refused to close properly in winter. But it was mine. Every scratch, every stain, every broken hinge had a story. And that morning, everything changed. I had stopped by a gas station the night before. Not because I believed in luck, I didn't, but because the cashier had insisted. Last ticket, he said. You never know. I almost laughed. I always knew. Nothing ever just happened to me. Life had taught me that early. Still, I bought it. Now I stood there, comparing numbers from my phone to the ones printed on the paper. My hands were shaking so badly I had to sit down. No, that's not right, I whispered. I checked again. And again. 6 numbers. Every single one matched. My heart started pounding so loudly, I thought something was wrong with me. I couldn't breathe properly. I dropped the paper, picked it up again, then grabbed my phone like it might disappear. This isn't real, I said out loud. But it was. I had just won $50 million. $50 million.
Dollars.
For a moment, I just sat there in silence.
No screaming. No jumping.
Just silence. Because my brain couldn't process it. I thought about all the years I had worked, double shifts, night shifts, cleaning offices while people like me slept. I thought about the times I skipped meals to save money, the rent I struggled to pay, the loneliness, and suddenly all of it felt distant, like it had happened to someone else. The first person I thought about calling was my brother, Ryan. We weren't exactly close. We hadn't been for years, not since he married Lisa. Something changed after that. Not all at once, just small things. Fewer calls, shorter visits, that feeling that I wasn't really welcome anymore. Still, he was family. I dialed his number. No answer. I wasn't surprised. Ryan always said he was busy, though I never really knew with what. He bounced between jobs, always chasing something bigger, better, easier. So I called Lisa instead. She picked up on the third ring. What is it, Anna? She said, her voice already irritated. I swallowed. Hey, I need to tell you something. Is Ryan there?
No.
He left early. What's going on? I hesitated. Something inside me said, don't say it yet. But I ignored it. I think I won the lottery. Silence. Then a short laugh. Think, she said. How much? $10. 50 million. The line went completely quiet. I could hear her breathing. You're serious, she said finally. Yes. Another pause. We're coming over. The call ended. I stared at my phone for a long time after that. That same strange feeling returned, like something wasn't right. Like I had just opened a door I wouldn't be able to close again. They arrived in less than 15 minutes. Ryan didn't even knock. He just pushed the door open like he still lived there. Where is it? He asked immediately.
No hello. No hug.
Just that. Lisa walked in behind him, perfectly put together as always. Her hair neat, her makeup flawless, her eyes sharp and calculating. I suddenly felt very small in my own apartment. I held up the ticket. Here. Lisa stepped forward and took it from my hand before I could say anything else. She studied it carefully, her lips moving as she read the numbers. Then her expression changed. Oh my God, she whispered. Ryan leaned over her shoulder. Is it real? She nodded slowly. It's real. For a second I thought maybe things would be okay. Maybe they'd be happy for me. Maybe we could celebrate together. Instead, Ryan started pacing. Okay, this is huge, he said. You don't understand how big this is.
I finki do, he replied quietly.
No, you don't, Lisa cut in. This kind of money? It changes everything. You can't just handle this alone. I frowned. I wasn't planning to. You'll need help, she said firmly. Legal help. Financial help. People who know what they're doing. I can find someone, I said. Ryan shook his head.
No, Anna.
You don't know who to trust. There are scams, taxes, paperwork, it's complicated. I'll figure it out. Lisa's smile tightened. Or, she said slowly, you let us help you. Something in her tone made my stomach twist. I appreciate it, I said, but I think I should. Anna, Ryan interrupted. We're your family. That word, family, landed heavier than it should have. I know, I said, but I still want to talk to a lawyer first. The room went quiet. Lisa's expression changed completely. The warmth disappeared. Why would you need a lawyer? She asked. To make sure everything is done right. She crossed her arms. That sounds like you don't trust us. I blinked. That's not what I said. But it's what you meant. Ryan rubbed his face, clearly annoyed now. Look, Anna, we're just trying to help you. You've never dealt with anything like this before. And you have, I asked. He hesitated. Lisa stepped in again. We know enough, she said. More than you, clearly. The air in the room felt heavier now. Different. I suddenly remembered all the small things over the years. The comments, the looks, the way Lisa always spoke to me like I was less. And now that look was back. Only stronger. Hungry. I think you should go, I said quietly. Ryan stopped pacing. What? I need time to think. Lisa laughed, but there was no humor in it. No, Anna, she said. You don't get to shut us out now. I stood up slowly.
Yes. I do.
For a moment, nobody moved. Then Ryan stepped closer. You're making a mistake. Maybe, I said. But it's my mistake to make. Lisa looked at me in a way I had never seen before. Cold. Measuring.
Fine, she said.
Think about it. She turned toward the door, then stopped. But remember something, she added without looking at me. People change when money shows up. Then she glanced back. Sometimes not in the way you expect. They left without another word. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat on my couch, the ticket hidden inside an old book, replaying everything in my head. The excitement was still there. But now something else had joined it.
Fear.
Because for the first time, I realized something important. Winning the money might have been the best thing that ever happened to me, or the worst. And deep down, I already felt which one it was going to be. I barely slept that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Lisa's face, that look she gave me before leaving, cold and sharp, like she had already made some kind of decision. By morning, the excitement of winning had dulled into something heavier, something uneasy. I kept the ticket hidden, moving it twice before sunrise, like someone might break in and magically know exactly where to look. It felt ridiculous, but also necessary. By 9 a.m., my phone started ringing. First Ryan. I didn't answer. Then Lisa. I let it ring. Then again.
And again.
By the fifth call, I turned my phone face down on the table, but it kept buzzing, crawling across the surface like something alive. Finally, a message came through. We need to talk. This is serious. I stared at the words for a long time. My first instinct was to ignore them, but something told me that wouldn't make this go away. If anything, it would make it worse. So I called back. Lisa answered immediately.
Finally, she said.
I was busy, I replied. With what? She asked quickly. I paused, thinking. There was a brief silence, then a softer tone.
Too soft.
Anna, we didn't mean to upset you yesterday. That caught me off guard. You didn't. No, she said smoothly. It's just this is a lot. For all of us. For all of us. Not just me. I noticed that. We're worried about you, she continued. You're alone. This kind of situation, people take advantage. I'm aware of that. Good. Then you understand why we need to handle things carefully.
We.
Another pause. Then she sighed. Can we come over?
Please.
Let's talk properly. Every instinct told me not to agree. But another voice, quieter, older, whispered that avoiding them wouldn't solve anything.
Fine, I said.
But just to talk. Of course, she replied quickly. They arrived slower this time. Not rushed. Not frantic. Controlled. Ryan knocked. That alone felt strange. When I opened the door, he actually smiled. Hey, he said. Lisa stood beside him, holding a small paper bag. We brought breakfast, she added. Thought you might not have eaten. I hesitated, then stepped aside.
Come in.
They sat at the table like guests, not like they owned the place. Lisa unpacked pastries, placing them neatly between us, as if this were some kind of normal family visit. It almost worked. Almost. We talked last night, Ryan began, about everything. And? I asked. And we want to help you the right way, Lisa said. No pressure.
No rushing.
That sounded better. Too better. I told you. I said, I'm getting a lawyer. Lisa nodded immediately.
Good.
You should. I blinked. That wasn't the response I expected. And a financial advisor, Ryan added. Independent. Someone you choose. Now I was confused. Okay, I said slowly. Lisa leaned forward slightly. All we're asking is to be included, not in control, just involved. I studied her face carefully. She looked sincere, but something underneath didn't match.
Why?
I asked. Ryan frowned. Because we care about you. That's not enough, I said. Lisa's smile tightened just a fraction. Because we're family. There it was again. That word. You didn't seem very concerned about family yesterday, I replied. Ryan shifted uncomfortably. We were surprised. You were aggressive. Lisa exhaled softly, lowering her eyes for a moment like she was reflecting. You're right.
I'm sorry.
That surprised me even more. Lisa didn't apologize.
Ever.
I just panicked, she continued. It's not every day someone close to you suddenly gets that kind of money. Close to you, I repeated quietly. Her eyes flickered. Of course, she said. I leaned back in my chair. Okay, I said. Here's how this works. I'm going to handle everything myself. I'll choose the lawyer, I'll deal with the claim, and I'll decide what to do with the money. Ryan nodded quickly. That's fair. Lisa hesitated half a second, then nodded too. Of course. But, I continued, I'll keep you informed. That's it. Silence. Then Ryan said, That's all we're asking. Lisa smiled again. But this time I saw it clearly. It didn't reach her eyes. For the next hour, everything felt almost normal. We ate. We talked. Ryan asked practical questions. When I claimed the money, how long it would take, what the process was like. Lisa listened more than she spoke, but I could feel her watching me, studying every word, every reaction. At one point, she casually asked, Where are you keeping the ticket? I froze for just a second. Then I shrugged. Safe. Of course, she said lightly. But she didn't ask again. That was worse. Because it meant she didn't need to. By the time they left, I felt exhausted. Not physically. Mentally. Like I had just sat through an interview where every answer mattered. As soon as the door closed, I locked it. Then I checked the windows. Then I went to the bedroom, pulled the ticket from its hiding place, and stared at it again. $50 million. It looked so small, so ordinary. I suddenly understood something I hadn't before. This wasn't just money. It was a magnet, and it was already pulling people toward it. That afternoon, I made my first real move. I searched for a lawyer. Not the first name that came up, not the biggest firm. I looked for someone who specialized in lottery claims, estates, and financial protection. Someone who didn't know me. Someone who couldn't be influenced. After 2 hours of research, I found one. I dialed the number. Law office. A calm voice answered.
Hi, I said.
My name is Anna.
I
need legal advice regarding a lottery win. There was a pause. Then the tone shifted slightly. Of course. We can schedule a consultation. Today? I asked. Another pause.
Yes.
Today. The appointment was set for 3 p.m. And for the first time since yesterday morning, I felt something close to control. But that feeling didn't last long. Because when I stepped out of my apartment building later that day, I saw Lisa, sitting in her car across the street, watching. Our eyes met instantly. She smiled and waved, like it was completely normal, like she had every right to be there. A chill ran through me. Slowly, deliberately, I walked toward her. She rolled down the window before I even reached the car. Hi, she said casually. What are you doing here? I asked. Just passing by. That's not true. She tilted her head slightly. You're right. I crossed my arms. So, I wanted to make sure you're okay. I am. Good, she said. Then her eyes flicked briefly toward my bag. Heading somewhere? I didn't answer. She smiled again. You know, she said softly, this kind of money, it changes people. You said that yesterday. And you didn't believe me. I still don't. Her smile widened just a little. You will. Something in the way she said it made my chest tighten. Not a threat. Not exactly. But close. Very close. I stepped back. I have to go. Of course, she said. But as I turned away, she added, just be careful who you trust, Anna. I didn't look back, but I felt her watching me the entire time I walked away. By the time I reached the lawyer's office, my hands were cold. Not from the weather. From the realization settling in deeper with every step. This wasn't just about money anymore. Something had shifted. Something I couldn't undo. And whatever came next, it wasn't going to be simple. By the time I stepped into the lawyer's office, I had already made one decision. I was going to trust no one completely. Not Ryan. Not Lisa. And not even the man sitting behind the polished wooden desk, studying me with calm, measured eyes as if he had seen 100 people like me before. People whose lives had suddenly become complicated overnight. Anna, he said, folding his hands together. Before we begin, I want you to understand something clearly. Situations like yours don't attract opportunity, they attract risk. I figured that out already, I replied. He gave a slight nod, like that was the correct answer.
Good.
Then we won't waste time. Tell me everything. From the beginning.
So I did.
I told him about the ticket, the numbers, the moment I realized I'd won. Then about Ryan and Lisa, how they showed up, how they acted, what they said. I didn't exaggerate anything. I didn't need to. When I finished, the room was quiet. He leaned back slightly in his chair, thinking. Do they know where the ticket is? He asked.
No.
Good.
Keep it that way.
I will. He tapped a pen lightly against the desk. Have they asked you to sign anything? Documents, permissions, transfers?
No.
They will. I felt something tighten in my chest. They already tried to push me into letting them help, I said. That's how it starts, he replied calmly. Soft pressure first. Then legal framing. Then control. Control over what? Everything. The word hung in the air. I swallowed. What should I do? He leaned forward now, more serious. First, you do nothing impulsive. You don't claim the prize yet. You don't sign anything. And most importantly, you don't let them convince anyone that you're incapable of managing your own affairs. I frowned. Why would they do that? He looked at me directly. Because it's the easiest way to take control legally. The room suddenly felt colder. You mean declare me incompetent? Yes. I stared at him. That's insane. It's also very real, he said. It happens more often than people think, especially when large amounts of money are involved. I thought about Lisa's words, the way she spoke, the way she watched me. A slow, uncomfortable realization began to form. They were already planting that idea, I said quietly. He didn't respond right away. Then he nodded.
Yes.
Based on what you've told me, I would say they've been preparing for something like this. My stomach dropped. Preparing? I repeated. You mean before the lottery? It's possible. I leaned back in my chair, trying to process that. All those little comments over the past year. Lisa asking if I was forgetting things, Ryan mentioning I seemed tired, the subtle suggestions that maybe I shouldn't live alone anymore. At the time, it felt like concern. Now it felt like something else. Something planned. What do I do? I asked again, more quietly this time. He opened a folder and slid a paper toward me. We protect you, he said, legally and strategically. The plan was simple, at least on the surface. We would secure the ticket properly, document everything, and begin the claim process carefully, without rushing, without giving anyone access. He also advised me to start documenting my interactions with Ryan and Lisa. Every call, every message, every visit, he said. Write it down. Record it if you can. Record them? If they're trying to build a narrative against you, he replied, you need your own. That made sense. Too much sense. I left the office with a strange mix of relief and fear. Relief because I finally had guidance. Fear because everything I suspected was now confirmed. This wasn't just family tension. This was something much bigger. When I got back home, everything looked the same. Same door. Same hallway. Same quiet. But it didn't feel the same anymore. I locked the door behind me and stood there for a moment, listening. Nothing. Still. I checked every room. Closet. Bathroom.
Bedroom.
Empty. I let out a breath I didn't realize I was holding. Then I went straight to where I had hidden the ticket. It was still there. Untouched. But I didn't feel safe leaving it anymore. Not after today. So I packed a small bag, placed the ticket inside a book again, and prepared to move it somewhere more secure. That's when my phone buzzed. Ryan. I hesitated, then answered. Hey, he said. His voice sounded different. Careful. Hey, I replied. Where have you been? He asked. We stopped by earlier. My heart skipped. You what?
Yeah.
You weren't home. I tightened my grip on the phone. You didn't tell me you were coming. We were worried, he said. You weren't answering. I told you I needed time. We know. We just wanted to check on you. Something about the way he said it felt wrong. Too rehearsed. I'm fine, I said. Good. That's good. A pause. Listen, Lisa found something online about lottery winners. Okay. Apparently, a lot of people lose control after winning, make bad decisions, get manipulated. I almost laughed. By who? I asked. By strangers. Or even themselves. There it was again. That idea. You think I'm going to lose control? I asked. I think you're under a lot of stress, he said carefully. And you're not helping. Another pause. Then his tone shifted slightly. Anna, when was the last time you saw a doctor? My chest tightened.
Ivy fine.
I'm just asking. Why? Because Lisa noticed yesterday you seemed a little overwhelmed. Overwhelmed. I closed my eyes. This was it. They were starting. I just won the lottery, I said slowly. Of course I'm overwhelmed. Yeah, but… No. I cut him off. Don't do this. Do what? Don't try to make it sound like something's wrong with me. Silence. Then he sighed. We're just trying to help. No, I said quietly. You're trying to control. That hit him. I could hear it. That's not fair, he said. Isn't it? Another long pause. Then, softer. You're pushing us away. Maybe I should. The line went quiet. For a moment, I thought he hung up. Then he spoke again. Lisa's worried about you, he said. I'm more worried about Lisa. That was the wrong thing to say. I knew it the second the words left my mouth. His tone hardened instantly. What does that mean? It means she's acting like this isn't my life anymore. That's not true. It feels like it. He exhaled sharply. You're overthinking this. No, I said. I'm finally thinking clearly. Silence again. Then, quietly. We'll talk later. The call ended. I stood there for a long time, staring at my phone. Then I did something I hadn't done before. I opened the settings and turned on call recording. That evening I moved the ticket, not to a bank.
Not yet.
Somewhere else. Somewhere only I knew. Because one thing had become very clear. This wasn't just about protecting money anymore. It was about protecting myself. That night, I heard something. A sound.
Soft.
Near the door. I froze. Listened. Nothing. Then, a faint click. Like someone testing the handle. My heart started racing. Slowly, quietly, I stepped toward the door. Every instinct told me not to open it. So, I didn't. They're trying to build a case. Yes. I paced the room. Can they actually do anything? Not yet. But they're testing the system, seeing how far they can push before you push back. I stopped. And if I don't push back, then they keep going. Silence. Then I asked the question that had been forming since the call ended. What's the worst-case scenario? He didn't hesitate. They convince the court you're mentally unfit, get temporary control over your finances, and isolate you for your own safety. My stomach turned. And best case, you stop them before they gain any legal ground.
How?
By staying ahead, not reacting, acting. I exhaled slowly. Okay. Good, he said. Because the next move is yours. By noon, I had made my decision. If they were going to play this game, I wasn't going to sit back anymore. I was going to move first. I called Ryan. He answered almost immediately. Anna? Yeah, I said. We need to talk. Relief flooded his voice. Finally. I've been trying. In person. I cut in. Both of you.
A pause.
Okay, where? My place. Another pause. Then, carefully. Are you sure that's a good idea? Yes, I said. I'm sure. They arrived exactly 30 minutes later. Too fast. Like they were already waiting. This time, when I opened the door, I didn't step aside right away. I looked at both of them, really looked. Ryan looked tense. Lisa looked composed. Too composed. Come in, I said finally. They stepped inside. Lisa glanced around the apartment quickly. Not obviously, but enough for me to notice. Looking. Checking. Always checking. We sat down. No food this time. No fake quotums. Just silence. You called a wellness check on me? I said.
No hesitación. No denial.
Lisa answered immediately. We were concerned. I nodded slowly. Concerned enough to involve the county? Yes. Concerned enough to try and have me evaluated? Ryan shifted. Anna, it's not like that. It is like that, I said, cutting him off. Don't lie to me. Silence. Lisa leaned forward slightly. You've been acting differently, she said. Paranoid. Defensive. I almost smiled. Paranoid? I repeated. Yes. Because I don't trust you? Because you think we're against you. I held her gaze. Aren't you? For the first time, she didn't answer immediately. That was enough. Ryan rubbed his hands together nervously. Look, this is getting out of control. We just want to help you manage things before something goes wrong. Something already went wrong, I said. What? I told you I needed time. You responded by trying to prove I'm unstable. Lisa's expression hardened slightly. We're trying to protect you. No, I said calmly. You're trying to position yourselves. That hit. I saw it in her eyes. Sharp, brief, then gone. You're misunderstanding everything, she said.
No, y replía.
I finally understand everything. Silence stretched between us. Heavy, uncomfortable, irreversible. Ryan looked at me like he was searching for something familiar, like the version of me he could still control. Anna, this money, it's changing you. I let out a quiet breath. No, I said. It's revealing you. That landed harder than anything else. Lisa stood up slowly. Okay, she said. If that's how you feel, it is. She nodded once, then looked directly at me. Then we'll do this the formal way. A chill ran through me. What does that mean? It means, she said calmly, we're going to make sure you get the help you clearly need. Ryan looked at her. Lisa. No, she said, without breaking eye contact with me. This is past discussion. I stood up too. Are you threatening me? I'm preparing for reality. Your reality, I said. No, she replied quietly. The one that's coming whether you like it or not. Silence. Then she turned toward the door. Ryan hesitated. He looked at me. Really looked. For a moment I thought he might say something real. Something honest. But instead he just said, think about what you're doing. Then he followed her out. The door closed. And this time, I locked it immediately.
No hesitación.
No doubt. Because something had just become very clear. There was no fixing this. No calming it down. No going back to normal. Whatever this was, it had turned into a fight. That evening I did something else. Something I hadn't planned before. I packed a second bag.
Clothes.
Documents. Essentials. Not because I was leaving, but because I needed to be ready to. Because for the first time, a thought crossed my mind that I couldn't ignore. What if staying here wasn't safe anymore? At 8:47 p.m., my phone buzzed again. A message from an unknown number. You should have trusted us. I stared at it. Then another message came. Now it's too late. I didn't reply, but I saved it, because every word now mattered. Every move. Every mistake. I sat in the dark for a long time that night.
No te ve.
No music. Just silence. And one realization repeating in my mind over and over. They weren't going to stop. Not until they got what they wanted.
Or
until I stopped them. And I was starting to understand something else too. This was never just about money. It was about control. And people like Lisa don't walk away from control. By the next morning, something inside me had shifted completely. The fear was still there, but it wasn't leading anymore. It had been replaced by something colder, sharper control. Not over everything. Not yet, but over myself. And that was enough to start. I woke up before sunrise, not because I had rested, but because my body refused to stay still any longer. The apartment felt smaller than ever, like the walls had moved closer overnight. Every corner held tension, every shadow felt like it was watching. I didn't even bother making coffee this time. I just stood by the window again like the day before, scanning the street below. Same people, same routines, but now I was looking differently. I wasn't just observing. I was checking. Noticing who slowed down, who looked up, who lingered a second too long. At 7:15 a.m., a black sedan pulled up across the street. It didn't park like someone visiting. It parked like someone waiting. The engine stayed on. I watched for 3 full minutes. No one got out. No one moved. Then slowly the car drove away. Maybe it meant nothing. But after everything that had already happened, I stopped believing in coincidences. I turned away from the window and picked up my phone. One call. That's all it took. Good, my lawyer said after I explained what I saw. You're paying attention now. You think it was them? I think they're escalating, he replied. And when people escalate, they rarely do it halfway. I sat down slowly. What's next? You tell me, he said. What do you want to do? That question hit harder than I expected, because up until now, I had been reacting, defending, avoiding. But this was different. I want this to stop, I said. Then you need leverage. I frowned. What kind of leverage? The kind that makes them afraid of you. Silence. Then I understood. You mean evidence. Yes. I looked at my phone. The recordings. The messages. The calls. It wasn't enough. Not yet. I need more, I said. Yes, he replied. But be careful how you get it. Don't provoke them blindly. Let them reveal themselves. I nodded slowly. Even though he couldn't see me, they already are. That afternoon, I made the most dangerous decision so far. I invited them back. The message was simple. We need to talk. Come today. Lisa replied within seconds. We'll be there. Of course they would. I prepared carefully. Phone charged. Recording on. Backup recording hidden. Every word from now on mattered. Every reaction. Every mistake. Because I wasn't just talking to them anymore. I was documenting them. When they arrived, the atmosphere was completely different. No pretending this time.
No fake smiles. No breakfast bags.
Just tension. Thick and immediate. Lisa walked in first, her posture straight, her expression controlled but cold. Ryan followed behind her, quieter, more uncertain, like he already knew this wasn't going to end well. You said you wanted to talk, Lisa said.
He replied. We sat down.
Same table, same chairs, but it felt like a different place entirely. I've been thinking, I said. Lisa didn't blink. About everything. Ryan leaned forward slightly, and I looked at both of them. Then I said it clearly. You're trying to take control of my life.
No hesitation. No softening.
Just truth. Ryan immediately shook his head. That's not. Yes, Lisa cut in. We are. The room went silent. Ryan turned to her. What are you doing? But she ignored him. She kept her eyes on me. At least someone here is honest, she said calmly. I felt something tighten in my chest, not fear. Recognition. This was the real her.
No mask.
No performance. Just intent. Why? I asked. Because you're not capable of handling this, she replied. I am. No, she said flatly. You're not. Ryan stood up slightly. Lisa. Sit down, she snapped. And he did. That told me everything I needed to know. I leaned back slowly. And how exactly do you plan to prove that? I asked. Lisa smiled. Not wide. Not dramatic. Just enough. You're already doing it for us. My stomach dropped slightly. What does that mean? It means, she said, every emotional reaction, every defensive response, every time you raise your voice, it all builds a picture. A false picture. Reality is whatever can be proven, she replied. I held her gaze. And what exactly are you trying to prove? That you're unstable. Ryan looked pale now. This is crazy, he said. Lisa, stop. But she didn't. Once that's established, she continued calmly, everything becomes easier. Legal authority, financial control, medical oversight. You mean control over my money? I said. She tilted her head slightly. Over your decisions.
Same thing.
We both knew it. I let a few seconds pass. Then I asked quietly, and if I don't cooperate? That's when the air changed.
Completely.
Lisa leaned forward slightly. Then things get harder, she said.
How?
She didn't answer right away. Then, softly, people in your situation, they tend to isolate themselves, make irrational choices, push away support systems. Ryan whispered, Lisa, enough. But she kept going. And when that happens, she said, intervention becomes necessary. I nodded slowly. I see.
And I did.
Every piece, every move, every step. They weren't improvising. They had a plan, a clear one, and I had just stepped right into the middle of it. I stood up.
They both looked at me. You're done, I said.
Lisa blinked once. Excuse me? You're done trying to control me. Her expression didn't change. You don't get to decide that. I already did. Silence. Then Ryan stood up too. Anna, just calm down. No, I said. You calm down. Both of you. My voice didn't shake. Not even a little. That surprised all of us. I know exactly what you're doing, I continued. And it's over. Lisa stood up slowly now. And how exactly do you plan to stop it? I reached into my pocket, pulled out my phone, and pressed one button. Her voice filled the room.
Clear.
Sharp. Unmistakable. We are. You're not capable. We're going to prove you're unstable. The color drained from Ryan's face. Lisa didn't move, but her eyes changed. Just slightly. You recorded us, she said. Yes. That's illegal.
No, y replica calmly.
Not here. Silence. Heavy. Dangerous. I've been recording everything. I continued. Calls. Messages. Conversations. Including the threats. Ryan looked like he might collapse. Lisa just stared at me. Calculating. Always calculating. What do you want? She asked finally. Simple question. But loaded. I took a breath. Leave me alone. That's it. Yes. She studied me.
Long. Carefully.
Then she smiled. But this time, it wasn't controlled. It wasn't subtle. It was something else. Something colder. You really think this ends here? She said quietly. It does for me. She stepped closer. Just one step. But enough. No, Anna, she said. This is just getting started. Ryan grabbed her arm. Lisa, stop. She pulled away from him. You've already made your move, she said to me. Now we make ours. I didn't respond, because I knew she meant it. Every word. They left without another word. But the silence they left behind was louder than anything before. That night, I didn't feel fear. Not exactly. I felt something worse. Anticipation. Because now it wasn't hidden anymore. Not subtle. Not indirect. It was open.
Clear.
And inevitable. At 11:03 p.m., my phone buzzed again. Another unknown number. A message. You just made this much harder for yourself. I stared at it. Then another message came. Last chance to fix it. I didn't reply. I just saved it. Because now I understood something completely. This wasn't going to end quietly. And for the first time,
I was ready for that.
The next morning didn't feel like a new day. It felt like a continuation of something already in motion, something that had passed the point of stopping. I woke up before my alarm, staring at the ceiling, already fully aware of one thing. Whatever Lisa meant by our move, it was coming today. There's a strange calm that settles in when you realize the worst is no longer a possibility, but an expectation. That's where I was. No panic, no rushing, just clarity. I got up, got dressed, and checked everything one more time. Phone charged. Recordings backed up. Documents ready. I even packed my bag again, not out of fear this time, but preparation. If I needed to leave quickly, I would. At 9:26 a.m., the knock came. Not loud. Not aggressive. Official. I didn't rush to the door. I already knew. When I opened it, two people stood there. A woman in professional attire and a man behind her, both holding folders. Anna? The woman asked politely. Yes. I'm here from the county office. We received multiple reports regarding your mental well-being and safety. We'd like to ask you a few questions. Of course they would. I stepped aside calmly.
Come in.
They exchanged a quick glance, probably not the reaction they expected, and entered. We sat at the table. The same table where everything had started shifting just days ago. The woman opened her folder. We just need to assess a few things, she said. Standard procedure. Of course, I replied. Her eyes studied me carefully. Not aggressively. Not suspiciously. Just observant. Can you tell me how you've been feeling lately? Focused, I said. That made her pause slightly. Focused.
Yes.
A lot has happened recently, so I've been making sure I stay clear-headed. She nodded slowly, writing something down. And have you experienced any confusion? Memory issues?
No.
Any feelings of paranoia? Like someone might be watching you or trying to harm you? I held her gaze. No, I said calmly. But I am aware that people close to me are trying to manipulate a situation. That definitely got her attention. Can you explain that? Yes, I said. And then,
I did.
not emotionally, not defensively,
Clearly.
step by step. Everything. The calls, the pressure, the attempt to involve services, the language they used, the timing. And then, I placed my phone on the table. I've also documented everything. The room went quiet. I pressed play. Lisa's voice filled the space again.
Cold.
Precise. Undeniable. The woman stopped writing. The man looked up. And for the first time since they walked in, they weren't evaluating me. They were listening. When the recording ended, silence settled heavily in the room. The woman closed her folder slowly. Thank you for sharing this, she said carefully. I nodded. I understand why you were called, she continued. But based on what we've seen and heard, there's no indication that you're unable to manage your own affairs. There it was.
Clear.
Official. Final. I felt something inside me loosen for the first time in days. But, she added, we will be documenting this situation, especially regarding the individuals involved. Good. That's exactly what I wanted.
Thank you, I said.
They stood up a few minutes later, their tone completely different now, respectful, measured. Take care of yourself, she said before leaving. I will.
The door closed.
And just like that, Lisa's first real move had failed. But I knew her well enough by now. She wouldn't stop there. I didn't have to wait long. At 12:14 p.m., my phone rang. Ryan. I answered. Anna, he said, his voice rushed. What did you do? I told the truth. They came to see us, he said. They asked questions. About everything. Good. They should, I replied. This is getting out of control, he said. No, I said calmly. It's finally under control. Silence. Then quieter. Lisa's not going to let this go. I know. You don't understand, he said. She thinks you're trying to destroy us. I almost laughed. I'm trying to protect myself. Same thing to her. That told me everything. I'm done talking about this, Ryan, I said. Wait.
No.
Listen to me. My voice stayed steady. This ends now. You walk away, or you deal with the consequences. What consequences? I paused. Then I said it clearly. Legal ones. Silence.
Long.
Heavy. Then he whispered, You'd really do that? Yes. Because now, I would. That afternoon, things escalated for the last time. I was halfway through packing a few more things when I heard the door slam open. Not knock. Not try. Open. Hard. I turned instantly. Lisa stood there.
Breathing fast.
Eyes wild. No control left.
How dare you, she said.
I didn't move. You broke in, I replied calmly. You think this is over? She snapped. You think you won? This isn't a game. It is to you, she shouted. You're ruining everything. Ryan appeared behind her, panicked. Lisa, stop. No, she snapped. She started this. I shook my head slowly.
No.
You did. Her hands were shaking now, not with fear, with anger. You had everything handed to you, she said, and you're throwing it away. It was never yours, I replied. That pushed her over the edge. She stepped closer. Too close. This could have been easy, she said through clenched teeth. You just had to cooperate. With what? I asked. Losing control of my own life? With doing the smart thing, she snapped. No, I said quietly. With doing your thing. Silence. Sharp. Then she laughed. A short, bitter sound. You think you're safe now, she said. I know I am. She stepped even closer. And that's when I saw it. That shift. That moment when anger becomes something else. Something dangerous. You made a mistake, she said.
No, irreparable.
You did. Her hand moved. Fast. Not a weapon. Not yet. But enough. And that was all I needed. I stepped back, already pulling out my phone. Don't, Ryan said. Too late. I hit one button and spoke clearly. I need the police. Someone broke into my home and is threatening me. Everything froze. Lisa stared at me, then at the phone, then back at me. You wouldn't, she said. I just did. The next 10 minutes felt unreal. Lisa pacing, Ryan trying to calm her down, me standing still, watching, recording everything. And then, sirens. Getting louder, closer.
Real.
Lisa's expression changed. Not fear. Calculation again. Always calculation. We need to go, Ryan said. No, she replied. But it was already too late. The knock came. Firm. Authoritative. I opened the door. 2 officers stepped in. They saw everything immediately.
Lisa.
Ryan. The tension. What's going on here? One of them asked. I didn't hesitate. She forced her way in. I said, I have everything recorded. Lisa opened her mouth, but I played the audio. Her voice, her threats, her tone, all of it. Clear, undeniable. The officers exchanged a look, and just like that, the balance shifted. An hour later, the apartment was quiet again. But this time, it was different. Lisa was gone, taken away in handcuffs, still arguing, still trying to twist the story even as it collapsed around her. Ryan left without a word.
Didn't even look at me.
And me? I stood in the middle of the room, alone, but not vulnerable anymore, not confused, not afraid. That evening, I sat by the window again. Same place, same view, but everything felt still. Finally still, because the fight was over. Not perfectly, not cleanly, but clearly. And as I held the ticket in my hands one more time, I realized something important. Winning the money didn't change my life. It revealed it, showed me exactly who people were, what they were willing to do, and what I was willing to fight for. I folded the ticket carefully, placed it back where it belonged, and for the first time since all of this started, I felt something simple, something quiet, something real.
Peace.